Celine Hicks of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save On Foods. $1 million touchdown to win. If the kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you can win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Celine. Let's get you to Montreal and join Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Kate. We welcome you to Montreal on a cooler, overcast summer night here in late June. Last week, Formula One was here, and the Alouettes were on the road to start the season with 2 heartbreaking losses, one by field goal, one by missed field goal, and they're up against the unbeaten Saskatchewan Roughriders off to a very impressive 2-0 start. So the story here anyway, Dwayne, the biggest one has been at quarterback. Vernon Adams pulled by Kahari Jones last week. Trevor Harris took a while, but did engineer the comeback that just fell short of the missed field goal. He's got a tough challenge tonight against that Saskatchewan front seven.
Yeah, he certainly does. You've got a Saskatchewan front that leads the Canadian Football League in sacks through the first 2 seasons as Trevor Harris makes his first start of this season as a Montreal Alouette. He's going to have to be creative, be versatile in terms of what he does to get things going. Pete Robertson now in his 2nd Canadian Football League season. Looks great opposite AC Leonard coming off that edge. 3 sacks through 2 weeks to lead the Canadian Football League thus far.
Saskatchewan won their opener a couple of weeks ago against Hamilton, and then they beat Edmonton last week to start at 2-0. There's Chandler Worthy. New to Montreal this year, former Argonaut, back to return this kick. The Alouettes won the toss. They want the ball right away. So with it on the 30-yard line of the Riders, Brett Lawther gets week 3 underway with a shorter kick. And Worthy coming in at the 22. Chandler Worthy on the run. Good return. Still going. Could be gone. There's a start the Montreal Alouettes need as Chandler Worthy takes it into the end zone on the first play of the game. Touchdown, Alouettes. 87 yards.
As you said, a terrific start for Chandler Worthy. An even better start for the Montreal Alouettes, who needed to get out of the gate quickly in this ball game. Won the coin toss, said they wanted the ball. Chandler Worthy makes it all worthwhile. As he catches this ball, finds a seam, reads the block, gets outside. Terrell Richards had the nice seal inside. Nice cut back, and then it's just using his speed to get to the house. Terrific job by Chandler Worthy, the Montreal Special Teams unit.
No question the Alouettes have been feeling some heat after not just the losses, the way those losses happened.
Violations. Trop de temps à remettre le ballon en jeu. Montréal numéro 36. Number 36, 5-yard penalty.
So a time count to push David Cote back for a 37-yard point after try. You can be sure Cote is glad to just get back into game action and put what happened last week, a missed 21-yarder for the win, behind him. This the point after to make it a 7-0 Alouette lead. Up and through it goes for David Cote and the Alouettes, who had the best possible start to a game right here in their home opener.
And here you see, catches the ball, eyes ahead. He's reading that blocking scheme, finds a couple of seams, never misses a beat, never misses a step, doesn't slow down. He hits it, it's blocked up perfectly. And Chandler Worthy has Montreal out to a 7-0 lead in the first minute of this football game.
He had an on-again, off-again career with the Argos from 2017 until last year. Was let go in training camp by Toronto, and quickly, with an injury to Mario Alford, their star kick returner, again this season, they signed him up, and there's a big payoff for Kahari Jones and Trevor Harris, who sees his team with the lead without even taking the field.
Well, Chandler Worthy proving to be a terrific preseason pickup for the Montreal Alouettes. Look good in the return game so far. We'll look for him a little bit on offense tonight as well, as they seem to have developed a few plays around his versatile skill set.
We go from a kickoff to a touchdown to a point after to another kickoff. Jamal Morrow, an excellent returner, and their star running back this year as well, gets it up across the 40, where we'll see Cody Fajardo go to work 22 of 32 for 311 yards and a touchdown last week against Edmonton.
Yeah, Cody Fajardo is a guy I enjoy watching. As you see the numbers at the bottom of that graphic, 52 rushing yards and a touchdown for him on the ground. One of the Canadian Football League's top rushing quarterbacks, led all QBs in that category last season. Tremendous dual threat. He can hurt you that way.
He was second in the Riders behind William Powell in rushing yards last year. He was second to Morrow so far this young season. Taking the handoff. Looking to his left. It's nearly intercepted by Najee Murray. Murray nearly added to the Alouettes lead.
Yeah, this is just terrific recognition by the halfback, Najee Murray. He's going to be all over this one. Keep an eye on number 12 here. He sees the receivers set up, trying to set up that wall. He just splits it. Gets a hand on it.
Jumped it perfectly on Kean Schaefer-Baker. So a break for the Riders. Murray couldn't hang on to it, so throwing now on second down, and no good. Shaq Evans caught it. Rodney Randall in the coverage, and they say no, he was out of bounds.
Like the route, like the throw, but then you got to like the coverage maybe even a little bit better. Rodney Randall right there as Evans works back towards the sideline, working to the ball. It's in a good spot. But Evans pushed out of bounds by Randall, who's there right on time to make the play.
Just found the white line out of bounds. And so Corey Vedvik in to punt it away for Saskatchewan. Originally from Norway. Played his college ball at Marshall. This man's been busy. At the big kickoff return and goes down quickly at about the 23 is Chandler Worthy, who accounts for the touchdown that has given Trevor Harris and that Alouette team the lead. Harris getting the start. He came off the bench and went 18 of 30 for 270 last week in Toronto.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's not necessarily the completion percentage that we have come to expect from Trevor Harris, a guy who has typically been kind of high 60, 70% in his career. But a couple times I thought he did a nice job pushing the ball down the field, which is something that has maybe been questioned or challenged in Trevor Harris's game at times in the past.
On first down, Alouettes 22. Looking left, Eugene Lewis. Another big catch, and Lewis has had a bunch of them this season so far in Calgary and last week in Toronto. Yeah, and it was a couple of connections just like that I was talking about to Eugene Lewis down the sidelines that allowed Trevor Harris to get that ball down the field. That time man coverage from Nick Marshall. Nice job by Lewis timing up that jump ball. A gain of 24 just across the Montreal 45. The 7-0 lead on the opening kickoff return by Chandler Worthy. Trevor Harris handing off to Jeshurun Antwi on that first down. Goes off tackle right, and he picks up some good yardage on first down as we take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Expedia. Yeah, keep an eye on the left side of that offensive line. Calendar draws in for Schlugger at left tackle. Philippe Gagnon, limited practice time leading up to this game, so we'll see how he makes out here on game day. In the receiving core, you've got Dante Absher coming into the lineup. Jake Winicki, as you heard in pregame, on the one-game injured list this week. 7-yard pickup by Jeshurun Antwi, so it's a 2nd and 3 for Harris and the Alouettes approaching midfield. Faking the handoff, dumping off to the left, one-handed catch, Lewis, and a great effort after the catch to get closer to first down yardage. He did pick up a yard and still shy of midfield, but a great effort again by 87. Well, that's just showing off. You know, catches one down the sidelines there. Just the one-handed stab, very casual. Nice move to make a couple miss and turn that into a positive play. 3rd and short situation. But not quite enough, as it looks like they're going to punt for field position here. Not wanting to give Saskatchewan any field position breaks with this early lead. So Joseph Zima standing inside the Alouette 40 on that 3rd and 2. Jamal Morrow, very busy for the Riders. They're starting running back for the return, and that bounces back. And marked right about the 20 after a 35-yard punt by Zima. One big play to start by the Alouettes on the opening kickoff. A 7-0 lead here in the first.
Celine Hicks of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, you have just won groceries for a year thanks to Save on Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. Congratulations, Celine. If another kickoff is returned for a TD in today's game, you could win $1 million. Come on, Celine. Rod?
Come on, Celine. Come on, Celine. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, and you got to like your chances when the first play of the game gets you halfway there. Good luck with that. Chandler Worthy with the touchdown. Returning the kickoff that way, and a flag is out now on the carry by Jamal Morrow.
Yeah, this one away from the play. You see Saskatchewan head coach Craig Dickinson, longtime special teams coordinator in this league. The opening play of this game will clearly not sit well with him for multiple reasons.
Definitely not. Taking a while to get this marched off and called.
This is ridiculous, guys.
What's the over-under on getting a call in the next minute?
They still haven't spotted the football, by the way. Down around the Saskatchewan 10. Clearly against the Riders, but waiting for the call.
Saskatchewan, number 46, tripping, Saskatchewan 46, divers de pénalité, 10-yard penalty, first down repeated, premier.
That's the long snapper, Jorgen Hughes.
So he'll go to the box for 2 minutes. He'll feel shame.
You know, the long snappers don't get the names mentioned. I feel bad. I'm doing it for him because he's great at what he does. Pointing out a penalty here that puts the Riders further back on a 1st and 20, swinging it out to Morrow. Gets the edge to the right. And a little hop at the end. As he...
Well, we'll take a look at the rest of this Saskatchewan Roughriders offense. Obviously lots of talk this week about injury to center Dan Clark, broken ankle. Logan Bandy, the rookie out of University of Calgary, takes over at center. Deep receiving core. We'll keep an eye on young Canadian Kean Schaefer-Baker, who's taken on a little bigger role in the offense this season.
An 8-yard gain by Morrow on 1st and 20, so 2nd and 12, Fajardo. Under pressure, tried to just get rid of it. It looked like he was thinking about it to Morrow, but he takes the sack. Brian Haralamana is in there to take him down and force a punting situation for Saskatchewan.
And big play to start here for Brian Haralamana. He's starting at the weak side linebacker spot in place of the injured Chris Aki in this ball game. But yeah, you'll see as Fajardo gets on the move, starts to scramble. Looks like he thought about flipping it out to Jamal Morrow, but as he's on his way down, and especially being aware of the field position, he thinks wiser of it.
Be good again for Montreal, should be, with Chandler Worthy back for this big punt. A shorter punt, too, as Worthy comes in and he takes it at the Saskatchewan 50. Another good return now as he drives down and a flag comes out late as he gets it inside the Rider 35. Big special teams, Alouettes. Some big defense here, too. Brian Haralamana starting at the weak side linebacker. Takes down Cody Fajardo. Alouettes lead. Alouettes ball.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by 7-Eleven, where you get fast 24/7 delivery on game day, including Slurpee drinks.
With the penalty and the return by Worthy and the punt by Vedvik, it's a net difference of 4 yards. So great position for Montreal to take over now. 1st and 10 inside the Rider 20. Looking to add to that 7-point lead. Harris Fakes the handoff, gets outside, rolling out. His receiver fell down, and a flag comes out. That intended receiver was the rookie Tyson Philpott.
Retenu, holding, Montréal, numéro 55, number 55. 10-yard penalty, diverses pénalité, premier repris, first down repeated.
As that penalty goes against the right tackle, Landon Rice will take a moment to take a look at the Saskatchewan Roughriders defense. You heard Davis Sanchez in the pregame thinks A.C. Leonard has been the CFL's best defensive end thus far. We'll keep an eye on Larry Dean and his comeback season now at the will linebacker spot, weak side. Watch for Mike Edom at free safety.
Reggie White on the receiving end on that 1st and 20 from Trevor Harris. And gets taken down just for a yard or two. It's second still and very long, about 18, 19 yards. Short gain White.
Yeah, Roland Milligan right on top of that one as he tracked the receiver White across the field.
The start of week 3, CFL 2022. Montreal looking for their first victory of the season. This is their home opener. In scoring position, looking for more. Harris flushed out to the right, and he completes it. That's Herji Mayala in his 3rd year in the CFL, his first with the Alouettes. And not enough for a first down, but a lot closer for David Cote and the field goal unit for Montreal.
And you might have thought in that 2nd and long situation that Saskatchewan might get aggressive, send the house, but with so many yards needed, they only rush 3, drop 9, make sure that they're in position to do exactly that. On any completion, make the tackle right away, force this field goal attempt from, ironically, Rod,
21 yards. 21 away, just like last week, with one big difference. This one goes through. And Cote, got to feel good to just get the confidence back and get the boot to the ball. And a 10-point Montreal lead here in the first. The biggest story in Riderville this past week, the loss of veteran center Dan Clark. Well, in comes rookie Logan Bandy, drafted in the 5th round, 38th overall in 2021, and making his first start. And look at his resume, Dwayne. I know you followed his collegiate career quite a bit.
Yeah, Logan Bandy, terrific football player. As you see his grandpa Bud and his mother Karen here making the trip to Montreal to watch Logan's first CFL start.
Special moment for Bandy, but on that play, it's another big defensive play by the Alouettes on that carry by Jamal Morrow.
Here you see the Montreal defensive front. Mondo Sewell working right on the nose, but Darius Pickett, who's making that nickel linebacker spot his own this season after bouncing around to a few different spots last year.
The Alouettes leading tackler, the big one there. Here's a deep ball by Cody Fajardo, and it was nearly into the hands of Marc-Antoine Duquois. More of a defensive play almost for Shaq Evans to make sure it wasn't intercepted. It looked like Duquois would have a chance for a pick.
Yeah, and if you keep an eye on Duquois, he's right at the bottom of your screen, bottom center of your screen, the free safety. He kind of backpedals to get himself in position for this one, whereas if he kind of goes and tries to attack the ball a little bit more, he probably comes up with the pick. But as you can see, he's kind of backpedaling. That allows Shaq Evans to cut underneath him, get a hand on that, and break up the play.
Third straight 2-0 Saskatchewan. Bedvik punting again from the Rider 25. Chandler Worthy at the 30. Another good return by number 30. Chandler Worthy. And more good field position for the Alouettes.
As you see Gino Lewis take to the field with this Montreal offense. See what kind of start he's having here in 2022, leading the league in so many receiving categories thus far. 2 consecutive 100-plus yard games out of the gate for him.
Alouettes have enjoyed good field position all quarter long, starting here from their 54. A 10-point lead. Little play fake, dumping it off to Reggie White. Inside the 50. Gets it down, and a first down, Alouettes, and a gain of 12 yards.
Reggie White, nice mid-season addition. You're going to see Reggie White come. He's right at the bottom of your screen. He's going to motion all the way across through the backfield and slip out into the flat. They get the fullback Normand out in front of him. Set that one up almost like a screen type play.
Trevor Harris is 5 for 5 for 53 yards. Early in this game, some movement from Pete Robertson on that Saskatchewan defensive line. Was it a free play for Eugene Lewis? Flags are down. Or was there movement along the Alouette offensive line?
Hors-jeu, offside, Saskatchewan, 45-45, 5 verges, 5-yard penalty. Still first down. Premier essai répété.
To make it a 1st and 5, now inside the Rider 40. The Alouettes on the move again. Boy, Robertson, quite a day, especially in the opener. First possession, Hamilton got in on Dane Evans, forced a fumble. Set the tone in that game. But a strong defense up front, but they're getting tested in this game. The handoff, Antwi, and big Garrett Marino meets Jesherin Antwi and takes him down for nothing. Call it a loss of a yard.
Let's talk about the Saskatchewan Roughriders through the first 2 weeks of the season. 13 quarterback sacks thus far, and getting it done by committee. 10 players with at least one. One more.
In the entire East Division.
Yeah. 10 guys with at least one. Only 9 sacks in the entire East.
That one could have been picked off by Jeremy Clark, as he was looking for Reggie White. A little bit high for Clark, who laments a missed opportunity, although it would have been a really tough catch for him.
Once again, eyes on Reggie White in that slot. Physical route, trying to kind of use that lean to create leverage off Jeremy Clark, but the DB does a nice job staying with that route.
David Cote's 1 for 1. That one came from 21 yards. This will be about a 48-yard try to make it a 13-point Alouette lead late in the first quarter. David Cote is 2 for 2. Montreal leading Cody Fajardo and the Riders by 13. Good start to this game for Al's head coach Kahari Jones, and no doubt the owner of the club, Gary Stern, is happy with what he sees. If only he could be here. Let's head down and join John Lou.
Yeah, Rod, you can include team president Mario Cecchini as well as starting quarterback Vernon Adams Jr. in the Gary Stern boat. They all have COVID-19, and Stern has become a very entertaining follow on Twitter, but yesterday he posted this bad news saying, real sad and frustrated today. Just tested positive for COVID. Appears mild case. Can't tell you how much I wanted to cheer on our team. First game COVID-free and no restrictions. You know I'll be raising the roof of my cave. Our house, we win. Well, that last phrase is certainly consistent with Stern's penchant for making predictions. On Tuesday, he guested on a Regina radio station and said, of the Riders, you guys play a tough physical game. No doubt about that, but you're coming to our house. Our guys play tough and physical too. I've got us winning this game. So the virus might have him down, but Stern certainly isn't out, guys.
Thank you, John. And hopefully Mr. Stern is enjoying what he sees so far. Shaq Evans limping back to the Rider bench after that reception.
And obviously, hopefully nothing serious for the Rider receiver as he's taken down along the sidelines on this one.
Got a first down up to the Rider 51. Evans missed a chunk of last season with a foot into it. Cody Fajardo looking to set up a screen. That's red. He just throws it away into the shoes of Logan Bandy. Not taking a chance there. Second down.
Taking a look at this Alouettes D. We mentioned the rookie Logan Bandy making his first start. He'll be welcome to the league as he gets a lot of Almondo Sewell on that D line tonight. Chris Aki once again out at the weak side linebacker spot for Montreal. Brian Haralamana gets the start in his place. And at halfback, Najee Murray very nearly had himself a pick early on. We'll keep an eye on him at that halfback position tonight.
Second down, Fajardo. Over the middle, complete, and a first down. Duke Williams with his first catch of the night to put Saskatchewan in Montreal's territory.
And sometimes you just need someone to go make a play, try and get the offense going a little bit. Duke Williams, always a great candidate. This time coming across the middle, going down to the turf to make a big catch for a first down conversion.
Gain of 18. That was his 6th catch of the season. He did not play last week in Saskatchewan's victory over the Edmonton Elks. So they're glad to see him back into the lineup for the Riders. First and 10, Montreal 42. Frankie Hickson is the ball carrier, and Mike Moore takes him down for a very limited gain, maybe a yard or 2.
And Frankie Hickson is a guy that to me is a little bit of an X factor, an important guy to watch for the Saskatchewan Roughriders this year. Jamal Morrow winning that starting running back job out of camp, but they still want to use him so much in the return game, making sure that you've got a very capable guy who can spell him, take some reps on offense, is going to be very important for the Riders. Hickson is that guy right now.
Second and 8. Fajardo. Montreal 40. Completes that one. Mitchell Picton still on his feet. Spins around and down to about the 22. Picton had a touchdown and the 2-point conversion. The margin of victory against the Elks last week in Edmonton.
Yeah, Picton continues the upward trajectory of his career. You see him working right to left on your screen across the formation. Nice job running through a couple of arm tackles after the catch to pick up another Saskatchewan first down.
Picton in his 3rd year out of the Regina Rams. They're down to the Alouette 22 after that gain of 18. Here come the Riders, down 13. Late first quarter. Taking to Schaefer Baker, rolling to his right, Fajardo. Little pump fake, just gets rid of it, throws it away as he is escorted out of bounds by Wesley Sutton.
Well, we've seen Fajardo a couple of times. He's making that decision, take care of field position, and just get rid of that football. Watch Schaefer Baker, we talked about his role, this time lining up in the backfield. Play action, but Montreal sniffs this one out, keeping Cody Fajardo pretty well contained.
Making it a 2nd and 10 now. With the last play of the first quarter coming up, an interesting quarter where the biggest play came right at the start. And an opening kickoff return to a touchdown. Fajardo under pressure. Usher nearly had him. And then the job gets finished by Michael Wakefield as they push the Riders back. And it'll be 3rd down, a field goal try coming up to start the 2nd quarter. What a quarter it was for the Montreal Alouettes when they've needed it so much. Offense, defense, and most importantly, special teams. They have a 13-0 lead. I'll dedicate this to Dwayne Ford and say we're not worthy. That's the way it started, Dwayne. Chandler Worthy, the kickoff. Don't act like you didn't like that line. But you know what? There's more to this quarter for Montreal than just that. The opening points that gave them the shot of confidence.
I did like it, by the way. Yeah, definitely more to that for Montreal. Chandler Worthy giving them, I think, a great boost, obviously, on special teams, but offense looking to get things going, try and get Jeshrin Antwi going in the run game. But they've done a nice job distributing the ball in the pass game so far. A lot of different weapons involved, particularly important with Jake Wenicky out of this lineup tonight.
And there's Worthy back. It's a field goal try coming up now from Brett Lawther. About 41 yards. And Montreal's defense, credit too, that a lot of big plays, including one by Nick Usher to push them back and force them into a field goal try as the Riders try to get on the board in this game. From 41 yards, the veteran, Lawther. No And now it's a 10-point game. Last week, we enjoyed seeing the inductions of the class of 20 and 21, and there is a class of 2022 announced earlier this week, and what a class it is, Dwayne, including great quarterback Ricky Ray, and a guy who was a legend on defense in these parts, former Alouette great linebacker Chip Cox.
Yeah, fantastic class through and through. Again, big year for the Hall of Fame as we see, as you said, 2 classes just going in the new class now. How about the legacy of Ricky Ray?
The Ricky Ray tree. I mean, you have Trevor Harris with him in Toronto. You see Cody Fajardo. They were teammates in 2017. What a great come together. That influence on a lot of quarterbacks. Oh, what a big play there for Trevor Harris to Keon Julian Grant. They started the first quarter with a big play. They start the second quarter with another big one, a 70-yard strike. Trevor Harris to Keon Julian Grant. As the Alouettes quickly, after giving up 3 to the Riders, strike and add to their lead.
Yeah, look at the protection. 3-step drop, they get hands down to create the lane. Harris puts it up top. Keon Julian Grant, sometimes a forgotten man in that receiving corps, frequently lining up as a wide side wideout, but demonstrating that he's got that big playability too, streaking down the sideline for the home run ball.
In his 3rd year at St. FX, just his 2nd catch in the 2022 season. The previous one in week 1 went for 10 yards. That one went for 70 and a touchdown. And now a 20-3 Alouette lead here in their home opener at Molson Stadium.
Here you see Julian Grant, number 11. Coverage up tight, gets a clean release against Nelson Lacombo. Trevor Harris recognizing it right away. Again, was just a quick pass play. Timing her out. Harris puts the ball up quickly and lets Julian Grant run underneath it.
Let's go. You can't guard you. You can't guard you. You can't guard you. Clean up our press.
Trevor Harris and the Alouettes adding to their lead there. Touchdown pass. Harris to Keon Julian Grant. So Frankie Hickson back for the return. 1 and 2 back for the Roughriders. And it'll head to Jamal Mora. Just outside his 20. Riders are in a hole. They're down 17 now, and they have the ball back just across their 40 after the 20-yard return. We showed you the list of Hall of Famers in the class of 2022 from the media division as well, and the Football Reporters of Canada, and a former great player in his own right. Our Glenn Suter is also going to the Hall of Fame, so richly deserved. Suits followed his playing career, joining us in 1995. Wouldn't you know it, this is year 27 for 27 with us here at TSN. All the great cups he's worked, all the great moments too. Glenn Suter, congratulations, my friend, heading off to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in the media division.
Huge congratulations to Suits from all of us. There is no one that has embodied passion surrounding the Canadian Football League more than Glenn has.
Cody Fajardo under pressure. He got away from the first, but he does not get away from Brian Haralamana, who takes him down. And for all the talk of the pressure the Riders have exerted on defense in the first 2 weeks, it's Saskatchewan's D that's putting a lot of heat on early in this game.
Yeah, you take a look. Montreal Alouettes, they've made some investments in that defensive line and free agency over the course of the last couple of years. Big things expected, particularly as they match up against the Saskatchewan offensive line. It's in a little bit of a state of flux.
2nd and 11, more heat. Fajardo gets away. Looks to dump it off, and he can, and he's taken down again. Avery Ellis this time, back at the 40. So they lose yardage, and they're going to have to punt it away again.
Keep an eye right here on the middle linebacker, Trey Watson, mugged up in the line of scrimmage, right in that A gap. Looks like some miscommunication in protection. That leaves him free, throws off the timing of the play, forces Cody Fajardo to scramble and try and make something out of nothing.
Gary Bendick punting again, a short one. It hops and rolls out of bounds. Just inside their spotting at the Montreal 35 after a punt of 36. Montreal has the ball again and a 17-point lead. Love that old theme. Friday Night Football continuing tomorrow in Winnipeg. Ticats, Bombers, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You got an 0-2 Eastern team. You got a 2-0 Western team. And the Ticats can look at what's been going on so far with Montreal against Saskatchewan and maybe draw some inspiration so far. Keon Julian Grant had a 70-yard touchdown catch earlier, and he's hit there after the catch by Nelson Lacombo.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that matchup between a couple of terrific young Canadians. Nelson Lacombo, number 2 overall pick in last year's draft out of University of Saskatchewan. And Keon Julian Grant, first career touchdown moments ago for the St. FX product.
He was a star at X, and yeah, here in his 3rd season gets touchdown number 1 and just his 2nd catch of 2022. So a gain of 5, Julian Grant. Harris under pressure, gets it away and dumps it to Antwi, who's trying to push his way up to a first down. It looks like he is close enough to it. Very close, up around the 45 of the Alouettes.
Yeah, I like the run after the catch here from Jeshrun Antwi, the former Calgary Dino in that backfield, 2nd-year man. Check release for him, slip out towards the flat. Instead of running towards the sidelines, turn it north-south, try and find that first down marker.
Total net yards in this game so far. Montreal 140, Saskatchewan 37. Not to mention the big special teams touchdown for the Alouettes. So it's Antwi on the ground, has a hole, and he does a lot himself after contact to push his way for another first down, pickup of over 10 yards across midfield.
And we talked about it a little bit last week, Rod, in doing the Montreal game in Toronto. You know, we had talked to Kahari Jones about what it was Jeshrun Antwi did that got him noticed during training camp, and he said it was the fact that I didn't really notice he was in when he came in place of William Stanback. But I noticed the guy that was in there was running pretty hard, a lot like Will. It made the coaches take notice.
Antwi again on first down, and that time he is taken down. It's DeMarcus Christmas in June, taking him down after a gain of a couple of yards.
Just about a week early for you there, eh, partner?
Couldn't say Christmas in July. He gets a sack next month.
You're all over it.
There's your call. DeMarcus Christmas, first year out of Florida State. In to limit the damage by Antwi that time. Gain of 3. On that count, looks like he drew the Riders off, and that one intended for Dante Absher, and it's just tipped before it can fall into his hands. Was Harris able to draw the Riders offside?
41-5 verges, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down, 2e répété.
Oh, veteran quarterback, mixing up that cadence a little bit. Keep the defense honest. Again, knowing Saskatchewan was going to be hungry in this ball game, coming in, leading the Canadian Football League in sacks. You're going to try and find different ways in terms of your play calling, and obviously, as they just did, use that cadence to sort of take advantage of their aggressiveness, use it against them.
And a timeout is called on a 2nd and 2 now for the Alouettes. Trevor Harris came over last year. His first appearance in Alouette colors came October 30th last year against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Matthew Schultz started that game. Vernon Adams was injured. had been injured for a few weeks, and Schultz had been starting, but Khari Jones put Trevor Harris in, and he remained the starting quarterback the rest of the way, including the playoffs in their loss at Tim Hortons Field in the Eastern semifinal.
Harris acquired in exchange for defensive end Antonio Simmons, who has since rejoined the Owls, currently on the practice roster.
2nd and 2, a flag is out. Now Antwi gets through and has enough for the first down, pending the outcome of this flag. Jeshrin Antwi came on with the injury to William Stanback in week 1 in Calgary.
There in the sidelines, you see assistant head coach and running backs coach Andre Bolduc.
Hors-jeu, offside, Saskatchewan, 97-97. La pénalité refusée, penalties declined, first down.
They had the first down anyway. The 3rd offside call on that defensive line by the Riders in this game. Mentioning Antwi, though, busted off a 70-yarder against the Stamps when he came on for the injured William Stanback 2 weeks ago. Their number 1 tailback right now on 1st and 10. Harris with time over the middle. Lewis cuts back. Great move. Eugene Lewis is taken down ultimately, but a flag is out again shortly after he caught the ball. And Trevor Harris is limping back to the huddle.
Rudess sur le passeur, major foul, roughing the passers. Saskatchewan 92, Saskatchewan 92. Half the distance to goal, moitié de la distance, premier essai.
Garrett Marino gets called for roughing the passer on Trevor Harris.
So keep an eye on Garrett Marino, number 92, lines up right on the center. On this play, he's going to come in a little bit low on the hit. Nice swim move to get there. Just low on the hit as the ball's being thrown. And we always talk about that strike zone, right? The contact the quarterback has to be made above the knee, below the shoulder.
Inside the Saskatchewan 20. Down at the 13, actually, as they complete that. And Antwi on the first down picks up 5 more.
Well, Jeshrin Antwi comes in second only to Jamal Morrow in rushing in the Canadian Football League. As the title suggests, big shoes to fill coming in for William Stanback. But Antwi doing a nice job thus far.
It's been relentless for the most part for the Alouettes in this first half. 2nd and 5 at the Rider 8, leading 20-3. Harris looks into the end zone. No, just off the fingertips of Reggie White. Roland Milligan was there.
Nice looking drive. Unfortunately for Montreal, going to end with the field goal team coming out. Milligan supplying the tight coverage there on 2nd-year man Reggie White.
So it'll be a 16-yard try now. William Stanback, devastating injury in the first half in Calgary 2 weeks ago in their season opener. Cote's 2 for 2, up and through, 3 for 3. And a 20-point lead for the Montreal Alouettes over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Thursday night football. This was earlier in the half. Shaq Evans, his 1 catch of the game. Now watch as he is taken down. Right there at the sideline, gets up and limps off, and we haven't seen him since. Let's get an update now from John Lewis.
Yeah, Rod, after Shaq Evans returned to the sidelines, he tried to walk off his discomfort, noticeably limping down the sidelines into the end zone and back before he went to settle on the trainer's table where he had his right ankle taped up. Receivers coach Travis Moore came over to check and see if he was ready to go, to which Evans shook his head and shortly thereafter went into the dressing room and hasn't returned, so he is questionable at best to return to this game.
And John, you have to feel frustrated for him. Last year in week 2 against Hamilton, he suffered a broken foot. and missed a good chunk of the season. And even then, when he came back, Dwayne, he just wasn't the way he was in 2019.
Yeah, never really able to sort of get back in sync with his quarterback, with the offense in general. But when Shaq Evans is on his game and he and Cody Fajardo are doing their thing, one of the best.
Evans had come into this game with 9 catches and 173 yards, including a 41-yard reception. So out of the game now, Cody Fajardo on 2nd and 4. Completes that to Kean Schaefer-Baker, with Mike Jones coming in to cut underneath him, and not before the Riders pick up a first down near midfield.
And here you get a great look at the 65-yard wide field in the world of Canadian football. Schaefer-Baker, the wide man, the top of your screen. And even a timing route like that, you see the time it takes the ball to travel there allows the TV to close and make that play.
Handing off to Jamal Morrow, the leading rusher in the CFL, coming into this game, and picks up 6 there to make it 2nd and 4.
Yeah, Jamal Morrow, a great story in terms of perseverance and player development, quite frankly, sort of gradually over the course of his time with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, seeing his role increase to becoming a big-time special teamer last year, now a starting running back.
Here's a deep ball by Fajardo, but Duke Williams is well behind, lagging there. It falls incomplete down around the Montreal 5, 3rd and 4.
Yeah, it looks like Williams briefly got tangled up with the Montreal defender. Unable to break free until the very end of this play, and by that point the ball was in the air and overshot. See him battling there with Tyrese Beverette. Beverette, the linebacker, finds himself with a tough matchup in coverage.
Vedvik the punt from his 50. Chandler Worthy takes it, and the coverage is good. Derek Moncrief down in there to throw him out of bounds after a punt of 36. Montreal ball, 2nd quarter, 7-11 Thursday Night Football on TSN. It's been great to see this man playing again in the CFL. Larry Dean missed all of last season with an injury, and just looking at his body of work and what he means to the Roughriders. Let's head back to John.
Well, thank you, Rod. And what do Michael Jordan, Larry Dean, and Kobe Bryant have in common? Well, his airness was Dean's favorite player. Jordan happening to break his left foot in his sophomore seasons, and only to come back and become the greatest player in NBA history. Bryant, like Dean, ruptured his Achilles tendon, Bryant 9 years ago, returning to action fewer than 8 months after the injury. Dean says that he drew inspiration from Bryant's astonishingly fast return. And in Dean's first 2 games since not playing football since 2019, he's been posting some Mamba-like numbers, guys.
He certainly has, John, and it was so strange last year in training camp, just before training camp, that 4 riders suffered Achilles injuries and were out for the season, including Larry Dean and Nelson Lacombo too.
Yeah, and I mean the story, both these guys in terms of their comeback, Larry Dean in particular is a veteran guy into his 30s. You know, talk of how determined he was to make it all the way back.
A.C. Leonard got the early jump as the whistles blew as he headed in on Trevor Harris, but this is going to be another offside against Saskatchewan. By my count.
Offside. Saskatchewan numero 6, Saskatchewan number 6, 5-yard penalty will result in a first down. Premier essai.
I'm going to say by my count that's 4 offsides now for the defensive line of the Riders, and a frustrating note for their head coach Greg Dickinson. Penalties part of the difference in this game. 20-point Alouette lead late in the first half. Harris under pressure just goes down. Lost his footing too as he tried to get away, and lots of green and white surrounding him in the end. So
Yeah, good coverage there. There was nothing for Trevor Harris to throw to. Just a matter of time. You see Adams is the man who eventually makes the play on Trevor Harris. Looking play action, everything's covered, tries to escape. Adams forces him to redirect. A little bit of trouble with the footing, makes him easy prey.
Heading towards the 3-minute mark here until halftime. Alouettes, 2nd and 10, Harris. Another deep ball. Coverage is there, but Eugene Lewis is too. Another brilliant catch at the sideline for the leading receiver in the CFL. Harris to Lewis last week in Toronto. That combination was strong, as it was with Vernon Adams and Lewis in Calgary.
But just watch how sort of calm Eugene Lewis is with the ball in the air. There's no frantic fighting to get off of the defender.
Ball comes loose. Dante Absher chasing after it. And a busted up play here. Trevor Harris ultimately falling on it, and a huge loss on that first down play as they're pushed back just inside their 40.
You know, and watching the replay, I'm not so sure that Eugene Lewis's toes weren't out of bounds on that catch on the previous play.
Didn't get the challenge, and you're right, it might have been a good challenge for Saskatchewan, but they got a break here anyway. It is 2nd and very long, 3-minute warning.
Pre-game. That's why we're hired to do what we do. Oh, also, we would love to give a shout out to Celine Hicks.
Let's go.
Come on, Celine. We need one more kickoff for $1 million tonight. Rod?
Oh, Kate. When the first play goes for a kickoff return for a touchdown, you know she's paying attention definitely the rest of the way. Still needing that one kick return. So Alouette ball on a 2nd down and 33 will explain why. And when it looked like Saskatchewan could have challenged, Montreal rushed to get the play off. Ultimately, well, this is what starts at 2, as you see what happened with Gino Lewis's foot weight.
Yeah, I mean, I said I thought it looked like his toes were out. I think Gino Lewis and the Montreal Alouettes knew his toes were out. So for them, they're going to try and get up to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball right away. So fast, in fact, that quarterback wasn't really ready. When it came up, ball was snapped past him, and 2nd and 33 results.
And Samuel Emelis went to Vanier College, about a half-hour west of this stadium from Montreal. And one of the top draft picks for the Saskatchewan Roughriders gets his taste of action on that punt return.
Yeah, they continue to add to their stash of good young Canadian receivers. Emelis finished up his college career at Louisiana Tech after an outstanding run at UMass, where he was their top receiver. Really the central figure in the passing attack there.
He was drafted in the 1st round, 7th overall this year. Samuel Emelis puts it out across the 20 for Fajardo. Coming back, Schaefer Baker at around the 30. So a couple of yards shy of a first down, and a flag comes out afterwards.
Yeah, very late flag here. Once again, away from the football. There's some extracurriculars between the offensive and defensive lines, I suspect.
15 here. They're going to 15.
Après le jeu, after the play, Rudess, Saskatchewan, numéro 51, major foul. Saskatchewan, number 51, 15-yard penalty, 2nd down, and this is a misconduct foul.
The right tackle, Ty Rogers. Last week, Derek Moncrief got a couple of those against Edmonton and ended up being ejected from the game. In this one, penalties certainly hurting the Roughriders. They're pushed back to their 15. Deep right for Duke Williams. Oh, he caught that after bobbling it up. Mike Jones had every reason to think the play was over, but it got volleyed in the air by Duke Williams and back into his hands for a huge gain, 35 yards by Saskatchewan.
And Cody Fajardo just puts this one up. We talked about Duke Williams and his ability to just make plays. Nice adjustment to the ball by the receiver, Williams. Get a hand on it and eventually falls into his lap.
Coming across is Mora. Under 2 minutes to go until halftime as they get closer to midfield.
You see Williams goes up above the defender to get a hand on this one, but then he's falling down. But notice the eyes on the ball the entire way to the ground. It just lands in his arms for a huge completion.
1:45 on the clock. 23-3 Montreal. Saskatchewan on the move. Flags out. Fajardo flushed out. He takes off. And just gets out of bounds with Najee Murray nearby. A pickup of 9 pending the flag.
Hors-jeu, Montréal 98, offside Montreal 98, pénalité déclinée, penalty decline, first down.
Rookie Brock Gowanlock.
Yeah, Gowanlock picks up the flag. But keep an eye on Najee Murray here. He's the man coming up in support as Cody Fajardo is on the scramble. Could have delivered the hit, recognizes the quarterback's heading straight for the sidelines. Good judgment, good heads-up play there.
From the Montreal 47. Fajardo hits Jacob Prawl, and Najee Murray has had some big defensive plays, comes in and trips him up after he catches the ball.
Well, the Canadian Football League's second most famous product of Steubenville, Ohio, making his presence felt here in the first half. Once again, we mentioned the great jump he got on a play early in this ball game. Great recognition of the play. Very similar thing here. Recognizes the play, gets himself in position ahead of the blockers to make the tackle.
Fajardo over the middle, and it looked like it was complete, but it comes out of Duke Williams' hands. The falling incomplete. I'm assuming the distinction of the most famous CFLer from Steubenville would go to a certain starting quarterback with Winnipeg.
Yes, sir, Zach Collaros. Of course, Najee Murray was actually a ball boy for the football team when Zach Collaros was playing at Steubenville High. Murray, of course, as he got older, became a star on that team himself.
3 straight solid defensive plays by Najee Murray, who nearly had a pick 6 back in the Riders' first possession. Jumped the route and Shaver Baker perfectly. Couldn't hang on to the ball. Vedvik has been a busy man in this first half, and Corey Vedvik will punt it away from the Saskatchewan 50. 1:06 on the clock. Shorter punt. Caught by Worthy, flags down for no yards. This will be a 15. It would have been in the old system anyway because he caught it after a punt of only 31.
Non-respect de l'immunité. Saskatchewan 46, 15 verges de pénalité. No yards. Saskatchewan number 46, 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Did the other panelists kick? Did I get this right? Did they kick Kate out of the house?
I think she was voted out.
You can't do that to a host. You can't do it.
It's happened before, Ron.
I have to defend her here. She's back in the house now.
You know, that's how you ended up here with me, isn't it?
I got kicked out. That's right. Now that I think about it, it was kind of abrupt. They just said leave. No. They're better off now. Kate and the panel, Maddie and Milton Chesney too, to talk about this one. And yeah, who had Montreal? The way things were looking for the Alouettes. And some of the key injuries as well, with Saskatchewan looking so strong, but it has been all red and blue. The home side having a good home opener right now with presumably Gary Stern, their owner, and their president Mario Cecchini, and their quarterback Vernon Adams, all with COVID and forced to stay away and watch.
Well, I love the job that Montreal has done with a very simple thing in terms of managing that Saskatchewan front by changing up the snap counts. Drawn a number of penalties. And as this game goes on, you got to believe it's either they keep taking penalties or else they're going to slow down the rush a little bit.
Jeshrin Antwi heading into that carry at 6 for 35 yards, so adds to his total. 49 seconds to go, and now 2nd and 7. Certainly enough time to drive it down and have another field goal try if they can come up with another couple of big passing plays. Harris has had a few of those, especially to Eugene Lewis. 12 of 14 is Trevor Harris on the night for 188 yards and the touchdown pass to Keon Julian Grant. Handing off left side. That's Walter Fletcher, his first carry as an Alouette, coming over in a trade this week from the Edmonton Elks.
Fletcher required to provide some depth in that backfield. A little bit of experience after spending last year in Edmonton, but of course acquired after the loss of William Stanback in week 1.
His second year at a Ball State. So yes, acquired after the Stanback injury, but making his debut tonight. Little pump fake. Taking off and sitting down is Harris with just a couple of seconds left. Pete Robertson in on Harris there. 3 seconds on the clock. As it's appearing that the Alouettes will be able to take a 20-point lead into the dressing room in what has been looming as such a big game, that much more so after that heart-wrenching loss in the missed field goal last week in Toronto when it looked like they had the game. And that is halftime. It's been Alouettes since the opening kickoff, literally, with the Worthy touchdown. They lead at 23-3 as we send it back to Kate in the panel. Halftime in Montreal for the Alouettes home opener, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are down by 20. Here's John Loon now with their head coach, Greg Dickinson.
Greg, what controllable factors can you key on in the second half to try to help your offense get traction?
Yeah, we just talked to them, John, about one play at a time, one series at a time, just playing better in the second half than we did in the first half. We ran into a buzzsaw. They came out fast right from the jump. We didn't do a good job of responding. Hopefully we play a better second half.
As a longtime former special teams coordinator, can you break down that opening sequence on the Chandler the touchdown?
Yeah, we didn't see it because they didn't get it on our iPads, but we didn't have good leverage to the boundary, you know, and that guy is fast, he's strong. We knew he was a good football player. We tried to show some highlights of him. We didn't start very well. Hopefully we'll play better.
Thanks for this, Craig.
John.
Well, 20 points is daunting, but certainly not insurmountable, Dwayne. 5 days ago, Calgary was trailing 24-3 at the half, and they came back to beat the Ticats.
Craig Dickinson certainly wouldn't want to be outdone by his little brother.
So now he'll see if his team can do the same thing. Montreal, though, has certainly, as said, needed this too. Losing their first 2 on the road. David Cote gets the second half underway. 23-3 Alouettes. Jamal Morrow across the 30. Oh, nearly lost the ball, and finally it's Josh Harvey Clements that escorts him out of bounds.
It's often said that football games are decided by a handful of big plays. One of them crossed off the list immediately, the opening kickoff, returned by Chandler Worthy for a touchdown. And then second quarter, Trevor Harris, the bomb down the sidelines to Keon Julian Grant for his first career touchdown, en route to a 23-3 halftime lead for the hometown Montreal Alouettes.
More pressure, too, by the Alouettes defense. 4 sacks in this game tonight. Running on first down, it's Frankie Hickson, and he gets up to the Rider 50. A gain of 6, but the first 2 games, the Owls had 3 sacks. As mentioned, 4 tonight.
Yeah, obviously a lot of talk about Saskatchewan kind of having Montreal's offense under siege, given what this early season statistics suggest, but quietly on paper, Montreal kind of like the matchup of its defensive front going against the Saskatchewan O-line.
Standing behind the rookie center, Logan Bandy gets it back to him, and off to his right to Kian Schaefer-Baker, getting up near midfield, and a first down for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. or very close to it.
There you see the former Guelph Griffin, Kean Schaefer-Baker, a guy who flew under the radar far too much, quite frankly, on draft day 2020, but came in, earned himself a job.
3rd and inches, and Fajardo looked like he barely got back to the line of scrimmage. They didn't need much, and they do have the first down. The sticks do move, but Alouettes firing in, if not early, well timed.
You can't be so fast to call that. You are way short.
Let's take a look right down the line. See what you think.
Mondo Seawell jumping in.
Yeah.
No flags in that play. It is a first down for the Owls. On the sweep, Schaefer-Baker. They've used him that way before out of the backfield, and he takes that. And he has another first down for Saskatchewan. We have seen Kean Schaefer-Baker running the ball early in this season.
Yeah, and this is an example of a young player who has proven himself early in his career to be a playmaker. And that leads to the offense looking for more ways to get the ball into his hands. We've seen him line up in the backfield. And there you see Schaefer-Baker coming around on the sweep to pick up a first down for the Riders.
30th overall pick.
Should have been a first rounder.
Handing off to Hickson. Getting the call at running back here to start the second half, and a good gain on first down for Hickson. A gain of 8.
You see Saskatchewan offensive coordinator Jason Moss. We talked earlier about connections to Ricky Ray. What a 1-2 punch those guys were during their time in Edmonton. Moss now calling the plays for one of Ray's former understudies, Cody Fajardo.
On 2nd and 2. Hickson again tries the right side. Alouettes have that all covered with Wakefield and Murray coming in, and the middle linebacker Trey Watson too, so they do not have enough for a first down. It'll be 3rd and about a yard. Down by 20 points, not much question about it as the offense stays on.
You're good. You're good.
Montreal 35. 2nd, 3rd down gamble as Fajardo drives, and again looks like he has it, but not a whole lot to spare.
Yeah, a little more movement that time than on the last one. Fajardo working to his right where he found a little bit of a soft spot down the line of scrimmage.
Craig Dickinson's Riders opened the season at home in what was looming as a close game with Hamilton with just minutes to go, and then opened it up with a touchdown pass to Schaefer-Baker from Cody Fajardo, and then an interception that set up another one, winning 30-13. And then last week, you see it's a first down on the keeper by Fajardo. Last week, a late drive with Edmonton leading with about 5-6 minutes to go, and the Riders spoiled the Elks home opener. So 2-0 start in his 3rd season as the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Rodney Randall on the corner for the Alouettes. From the Montreal 34, the drive continues. 1st and 10. Under pressure, down. Down goes Fajardo. He is sacked again at the Montreal 40.
Mondo Seawell in the middle of things once again. Eye on big number 90. Looks like Seawell just got low and sort of got underneath the blocker there.
His 2nd year with the Alouettes, of course, been really a decade with Edmonton. 2nd and 16 after the loss. Dumping it off to Hickson. He's got some room to go after the catch. Frankie Hickson takes it down for a first down Saskatchewan inside the 25. A gain of 18 for Hickson.
Yeah, watch the job done here. Hickson's going to show block first and then sneak out on this screen. Watch the O-line get out in front of him. Evan Johnson coming from that right guard spot to lead the way.
Down by 20. One play at a time, one drive at a time. Looking to find the end zone in this possession early on in the second half. First and 10, Alouette 22. And dumping it for Jacob Prahl, who does have the catch down around the 15.
And this is Fajardo putting the ball where it's either his receiver gets it or it goes incomplete. Slow and outside. Prahl working towards that sideline, does a nice job to scoop that one off his shoestrings.
Good job by Fajardo and Prahl and the Riders to salvage 7 yards on what was looking like it may be a nothing play. Second and 3. Getting close down to the Alouette 15. Hickson again. Driving down to the 5. Another first down as this impressive run continues here for the green and white in the second half.
You'll see Schaefer Baker comes in motion here, and what that's going to do is sort of get you a hold on that defensive end. He's got to honor that sweep look coming towards him. Buys a little bit of time, creates some room in the run game for that cutback that the defensive end could otherwise crash down on. Essentially occupying a defender without actually blocking him. Nicely designed play.
Frankie Hickson now has 5 carries for 28 yards. That was the longest at 10. First and goal, Saskatchewan. Down 20, midway through the third quarter. From the Montreal fauna, Fajardo. Handing off again, Hickson. Oh, and a brilliant play there by Michael Wakefield. The defensive tackle wrapping him up. Perhaps for a bit of a loss. Second and goal.
Yeah, it looked initially like Saskatchewan had a pretty good double team going right at the point of attack on this play. Well, you see Wakefield from his D tackle spot. He's going to work all the way across. Watch him coming left to right. Steps into the hole and negates that Saskatchewan advantage in the blocking scheme.
Loss of 1, second and goal from the 6. Big second down Riders. Fajardo. They got him again. Cody Fajardo is taken down. And the Alouettes are the ones racking up the sacks tonight.
And that's a pretty strong 3-man rotation on the inside. You've got Sewell who lines up right on the nose. See Wakefield as the stand-up guy right beside him. Another D tackle, Michael Moore, usually a 3rd man in that rotation. All 3 of those guys getting in on that particular look for the Montreal D-line.
So it's Brett Lother. 20 yards. And 3 more on the board for the Riders. So they cut into the lead a bit. Not the way they would have liked. It's still a 23-6 Montreal lead. There is always something new on Crave. Don't miss exclusive shows and the latest hit movies streaming this June. Plan starting at $9.99 per month. Only on Crave. Trevor Harris and the Alouettes still have a 17-point lead. Saskatchewan in a long drive ending up with a field goal. We got movement on the defensive line again. That was a real problem for the Roughriders in the first half. Jess Renantwi is the ball carrier, but it's looking like offside Saskatchewan again.
And this is the kind of thing you usually anticipate kind of cleaning up at halftime.
Offside, Saskatchewan, 5-yard penalty. First down repeated.
By the way, that Rider drive, it was 13 plays, 54 yards in over 8.5 minutes. And ending up with a field goal. But yes, defensively, 5 offside penalties by that defensive front for Saskatchewan. First and 5 now. The Alouette 45. It's in the hands of Antwi again. Driving, pushing, and getting near a a first down. It looks like he does have one across the Montreal 50 and a gain of 6.
Another nice hard run there from Antwi to pick up the first down. Good for about 5 or 6. Pretty good sign when they're able to get the job done in what is a fairly obvious run situation at 1st and 5.
Those are not easy shoes to fill, too, with William Stanback done, injured in week 1. Antwi's done a very good job. 1st and 10, Montreal 51. Faking to Antwi, who stays in the block. Oh, nearly for Dante Absher. With the injury to Jake Winicky, Absher's making his season debut, and that just goes off the fingertips with Nick Marshall right there.
Yeah, you get a play action look in the backfield. He's the lone receiver. Top right corner of your screen, Dante Absher. He's just going on a rail down the sidelines. Quick release. Nick Marshall gets hip pocket on him. Absher able to get a little bit of separation as Harris throws him towards the sideline, but as you said, just unable to squeeze that one as he lays out.
So 2nd and 10. It's Trevor Harris, 12 of 15 in this game. Trying again for Keon Julian Grant, who had a big touchdown grab of 70 yards in the first half, but that's incomplete. So from the Alouette 51, they'll have to punt it away.
And the matchup we talked about earlier between a couple of good young Canadians. Nelson Lacombo providing the coverage on that one. Lacombo, another one of those riders who missed the 2021 season because of an Achilles issue and losing his rookie season.
Joseph Zima from his 40. Jamal Morrow back to the return, and it heads out at around the 10. A nice punt by Zima to hem the Riders in deep in their own zone, and they're down 23-6.
We live today, man. We live. Own that. Own that.
I'm proud of you, bro. Way to bounce back, baby.
We can't give up no more big plays. You guys go. Hey, thanks for coming out, guys. Thank you for coming out.
Don't miss CFL Wired. Exclusive access. Catch it Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern. In the hands of Jamal Morrow. Back on offense and taking that one from Cody Fajardo, getting up close to the 15 and a gain of 5. Riders in a hole trying to dig their way out. Last possession took a lot off the clock, and they got 3 on the board.
Yeah, terrific drive, I thought, put together by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Really seemed to kind of grab some momentum before having it snuffed out at the very end, settling for that field goal.
13-20, 147 for Fajardo. 2 for 311 last week in Edmonton. That one, oh, it's coughed up by Duke Williams, and a gift for Marc-Antoine Dubois. Into his hands, into the end zone, touchdown Montreal.
Well, I don't know if that'll be enough to get him voted back into the Big Brother house, but it's enough to restore the Alouette lead. Here you'll see Dubois, free safety, patrolling the middle of the field. We've seen Duke Williams make this exact same catch earlier in the game, sliding, going to pick up the low ball. This one, he ends up scooping it up in the air, and Dubois, 2021 draftee, former Montreal Canadien, scoops it up for the touchdown. Pick 6.
Converted again by David Cote. Like a reversal of Murphy's Law. If it can go right, it is going right for the Alouettes tonight, starting with the opening kickoff, capped off there by Marc-Antoine Dubois as they increase their lead.
Well, here you're going to see Cody Fajardo leading Duke Williams. Low inside throw where only that receiver can go get it. So you think that one bobbled and goes off the leg of Duke Williams. Never touches the ground, pops up in the air. Marc-Antoine Dubois comes up with the INT. Pick 6. Making the score 30-6 to the Montreal Alouettes here in their home opener.
Jamal Morrow on the return. The Alouettes go ahead and a Hall of Fame play for their defense. We'll talk more about Hall of Famers. John Liu coming back. Duquois, the touchdown, and a 30-6 Alouette lead. The Hall of Fame class of 22 was announced earlier this week. Chip Cox had the most tackles in CFL history with his team ahead of that very impressive list. Let's go back to John Liu.
Thank you, Rod. And Chip Cox is a man of few words, but was a force of nature from the Sam linebacker position. So his longtime former teammate Anthony Calvillo says he epitomizes the quiet leader. Calvillo says that he really appreciated the dedication and consistently high performance level of Cox, whether in practice or in games, and gives Cox and the Montreal defense the lion's share of the credit for Montreal's back-to-back Grey Cup wins in 2009 and 10. Now, as for Dave Ritchie, the former Owls head coach, who was also inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, Calvillo was a backup to Tracy Ham when he arrived from Hamilton, so he didn't play much under Dave Ritchie, but said that he remembers the former head coach as very demanding but kind-hearted. Guys?
Thank you, John. So it's Mitchell Picton with the ball on that first down play. But yeah, so two greats with Montreal connections, and Ritchie, and of course Chip Cox will gain recognition in September in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Dave Ritchie, of course, best known probably as a defensive coordinator, defensive mind in this league. A lot of success in that role, as well as his time spent as a head coach in the Canadian Football League. And lots of time for Dave Ritchie.
He was a head coach here before he went to Winnipeg. Remember, too, the head coach of the 94 BC Lions. Harold Amana's coming. Fajardo gets away and still on the run. Coming in to take him down is Najee Murray. And as Fajardo gets up and frustrated, no doubt, with the heat. There's been a lot of it coming in this night, and looks like he's limping too on that hit by Murray.
And a little bit of a battle happening back at the line of scrimmage. Watch number 90 right on the hash mark. So Mondo Sewell got a little bit of a rough ride there. You see that play culminated. Big hit by Murray on the Rough Rider quarterback.
Vednik with the punt. And Worthy got everything started. Back in the opening play. Has got it going again. Are you kidding? Chandler Worthy. Second return touchdown of the game. A flag is out. The first return.
During the return, illegal block, bloc illégal, Montréal numéro 31, Montreal 31, 10-yard penalty, and a first down.
So that return touchdown is denied. In the opening kickoff of this game, he returned one for the touchdown, but that one negated by penalty. He's done a lot of running tonight.
Chandler Worthy definitely doesn't want to give that job back. Keep an eye top right of your screen. There you're going to see the illegal block call.
They announced 31.
Montréal conteste la décision d'un bloc illégal. Le jeu va être révisé. Montreal is challenging the ruling on the field of an illegal block being called on the play. The play will be reviewed by the command center.
As mentioned, they announced 31, but that's William Stanback's number. It was 34, Alexander Gagne, who was called. And Kahari Jones doesn't agree with the call. Hence the challenge.
Yo, what are they... Yeah, and it was, as you saw it, we'll keep an eye on this matchup. Gagne against Nick Daly. You know, and certainly visually, he certainly ends up sort of on the back, pushing on the back of the Saskatchewan player, and it's right at the point of attack. I understand the argument from Montreal that, you know, you see Gagné looking like he sort of just ended up standing behind him, that he was there but didn't block him, but there was contact made, and because of where it occurs, yeah, I think this one's going to be tough to overturn, but
Worthy return in the opening kickoff, 88 yards for touchdown. That, if it had stood, would have been a 72-yard touchdown, punt return touchdown.
Okay, so keep an eye here again. There's your matchup towards the top of your screen. Yeah, I think he stays on the back long enough. I don't think you're going to get that one overturned if you're Montreal. Started off in good position, but kind of drifted to the back of the Saskatchewan player.
Certainly looks like it's the right call for the officials, as Gary Jones awaits the result of the challenge, but looks like, we assume. Let's find out.
Après révision par le centre de commande, la décision prise sur le terrain est maintenue. On a un bloc illégal par Montréal numéro 34. After review by the command center, the ruling on the field of an illegal block stands, 10-yard penalty, and a first down Montreal.
On Alexander Gagné, former Saskatchewan Roughrider. So no touchdown by Worthy. Not that time, but still a 30-6, 24-point lead for the Alouettes in the final minute here in quarter number 3, and they have the ball up at their 28. In the hands of the rookie Tyson Philpott. Breaks a tackle, he's still going. Across midfield and more. Tyson Philpott finally dragged down by Derek Moncrief deep in Saskatchewan territory, and a flag comes out at the point of the tackle.
Well, I'll tell you, everybody talks about the twins in a pair, Tyson and Jalen Philpott.
Plaquage par le collet. Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan horse collar tackle at the distance for goal. First down.
And here you're going to see Tyson go to work, and now these guys were absolutely dominant during their careers at the University of Calgary, but they went to the CFL Combine. Didn't necessarily run blazing 40s by receiver standards. A lot of people walked away. Well, they're not that fast. But those who watch them play would tell you, but they play fast. And that's exactly what you just saw from Tyson Philpott running away from people after making the grab.
Well, you're not kidding. Playing fast there and breaking the tackle, taking off. Moncrief hauled them down and took the penalty. They get closer. Yeah. First and goal.
Never mind the stopwatch. Watch the film.
First and goal at the 8. Handing off. Antwi. Oh, taken down. Pete Robertson in there. And A.C. Leonard on that tackle.
Yeah, and a solid job stuffing this one up at the point of attack, so Antwi can't really get going. He's got to stop his feet. And that allows pursuit to come from the backside. There you see no push. Front side, he tries to cut it back. By then, A.C. Leonard has tracked him down.
Denied a punt return touchdown on a penalty, but after a big play and a penalty, it is second and goal in the final play of the third quarter. Looking for another touchdown. Harris. Oh, he had Absher a little behind, falls incomplete, and it certainly appears like it'll be a field goal attempt to start the fourth quarter for the Alouettes. But they add to their lead. 30-6. Montreal And with a chance for more coming up. Thursday Night Football here on TSN. Through three quarters, the statistical oddity is at the bottom of the screen. Saskatchewan rules in time of possession and not much else, Dwayne Ford. That long drive ended up with just a field goal when they needed more, and Montreal's dominating in all three facets of the game.
Well, they really are, and a couple things stand out. One of them, first of all, you mentioned, is that time of possession, but time of possession quickly negated when you're making big plays, and Montreal has made some big plays. The one that stands out, of course, Chandler Worthy, and that kickoff return to open this football game. But the other one is when you think about what the narrative was coming into this football game. Saskatchewan's D-line is going to put all sorts of pressure on Trevor Harris and Montreal. Harris and the Montreal offense have done a terrific job managing that, in large part through what they have done with the cadence, drawing a number of offsides, also doing a good job in the return game. And you now see Montreal with 6 sacks, Saskatchewan with only 1.
They had the big play in the first half, the touchdown to Keon Julian Grant. They had a big one here to Tyson Philpott. Great run after the catch. And sets up a field goal try to start the fourth quarter by David Cote, who is having a perfect night. And a good feeling, I'm sure, after the way things ended in Toronto last week. But it's a 33-6 Montreal Alouette lead now at the start of the fourth quarter.
And there's a guy having a pretty good evening for himself amongst a number of Alouettes. Najee Murray seems to have been in the middle of a number of big plays defensively for the Alouettes. Just great timing, anticipation, jumping a couple of plays, stepping up to make tackles, knocking down balls. Fourth-year man out of Kent State, getting it done here tonight.
So the ball is spotted at the Saskatchewan 40 after the David Cote field goal. Riders with a whole lot of work to do. They're down by 27. Faking to Schaefer Baker, rolling out for Fajardo. We've seen this so many times, and nowhere to go. Taken down again. Armando Sewell again with a couple of sacks on the night.
Well, Sewell, the veteran, tough matchup at the best of times. This time he's lined up on the rookie center, Logan Bandy. Bandy's pulling out to lead the way going left. Sewell times it up before the guard can get to him. Just shoots that gap. Get to the quarterback.
6 sacks on the night for the Alouettes. Second and 16. Throwing it up at around the 45 for Keon Schaefer Baker.
Cody Fajardo with a defender in his face, arms up, steps up and makes this throw. Schaefer Baker pretty well covered on the play, but nonetheless goes and gets it.
Down by 27, early fourth quarter, 3-down football now for the Riders. Understandably, they have to go, and they are. A third down try. It's complete for the first, and turning around is Picton. Cuts back in. Great running after the catch. Nick Picton, who's finally taken down there by Wesley Sutton, but a first down for the Riders and a gain of 16.
Yeah, pretty basic catch with Picton going out to the flat, but he does a nice job after the catch, making people miss here. A pretty dynamic run with the cutback, trying to read his blocks. So significant collision there with Wesley Sutton.
First and 10, the Alouette 49. Off to the far side, complete to Justin McInnes, who gets by and breaks a tackle inside the 40, and another first down. Saskatchewan on the move again, a gain of 15.
Yeah, McInnes, another of the young Canadians in that receiver room for Saskatchewan. He's going to start off right behind the center in motion on this shot. And he's going to be out in the flat wide open for a long time. It takes a little while for this play to develop before Fajardo kind of checks down to him.
Drive continues at the 35. Deep ball, Fajardo to the end zone for Schaefer Baker. A couple of Alouettes, Murray and Sutton, are there as it falls incomplete.
can see what a go-to guy Kian Schaefer-Baker has emerged as for these Roughriders. Here, big situation. Looked like he might have misjudged that one a little bit as he was kind of trying to navigate the upright there. One of those great quirks of Canadian football.
Second down. Riders desperately need a touchdown. Going for it again. Into the end zone. And in and out of the hands of Duke Williams. Murray right there.
On the play again.
Najee Murray's having quite a night for that Alouette defense.
It looked like this was going to be another classic Duke Williams highlight reel moment. Going above the defender to get the football, but Najee Murray stays with this one. Look at him close as the ball's in the air, gets there, times it perfectly to disrupt the timing of Duke Williams on the catch.
Two big shots to the end zone. 3rd and 10 at the Alouette 35. And the Riders going for it. Over the middle, intercepted. Mike Jones has it. So that drive is snuffed out with a turnover as Picton knocks him out of bounds. Up around the 35. And another big defensive play, and there have been so many of them for the Alouettes on this night. Frustrating first 2 weeks. They're taking out their frustrations in the Riders in a 33-6 lead.
Keep an eye, Duke Williams, the intended receiver here. You're going to have Mike Jones in coverage. He's going to cut underneath the route to make a play on this football. It's thrown just a little bit behind Williams, and you'll see Fajardo can't really lead him because he would be kind of throwing him into traffic here. Throw just a touch behind, makes that jump that much easier. And the reaction to Duke Williams says it all for Rider Nation.
Former Bomber Mike Jones coming off a Grey Cup victory last year, and with that pick into the hands of Dante Asher on that first down, and you saw the frustration by Duke Williams. It was 2 catches on 7 targets and notable interceptions. The one by Jones, and before that, when he tried to make a spectacular deflected catch going down, it got bobbled into the hands of Marc-Antoine Duquois and in for an Alouette touchdown. That kind of night for Duke Williams and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Again, Riders coming in here at 2-0. Playing with a high level of confidence early in this 2022 season.
2nd and 5. I was going to say, especially on defense, we saw a lot of that a couple of weeks ago against Hamilton. They were a nightmare for Dane Evans and company, especially that man, Pete Robertson. That's his 4th sack of the season to lead the CFL, but we haven't seen a whole lot of that on this night, and we had a lot of talk about it, understandably, coming into this game.
Yeah, Robertson, who's been one of the Riders battling the offside issue here tonight. He's just going to come hard off the edge, does a nice job keeping the hands off him. You see him slap down the hands of the would-be blocker, Landon Rice, on route to quarterback Trevor Harris.
And his 2nd sack of the night, 5th of the season. I stand corrected, Pete Robertson. Still leading the CFL. And there's Alouettes, the rookie, Montreal native. And on the return for Saskatchewan, his 2nd return, 2nd touch in his young CFL career, and a flag is down on that one after a punt to 44. Cody Fajardo out of the game. The backup Mason Fine has come in. 33-6 Montreal in the 4th. Mason Fine is the new quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Cody Fajardo's night comes to an end at 12 for 28, 191, and 2 picked off. Fine got into a game against Hamilton late in the season last year. Earned the backup rule and throwing on first down and completing it over the 40 to Kian Schaefer-Baker for a gain of 6.
And good opportunity to get Mason Fine some reps, quite frankly, in a game where things just haven't been going right offensively. Get Cody Fajardo a little bit of a break. You don't need him in a game where comeback seems so unlikely. Don't need him taking any unnecessary hits in week 3.
Played his college ball in North Texas. Mason Fine. And getting some reps here in a game that's kind of got out of hand. Schaefer Baker again up near first down yardage as he's pancaked down by Mike Jones, who says, "Who, me?
He didn't slam him. He didn't lift him."
Montreal numéro 8. Unnecessary roughness, Montreal number 8. 15 yards from the end of the play and a first down. Premier essai.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this is one I hear the argument from the Montreal sideline. He didn't lift him, he didn't slam him down, but based on when the whistle went.
And it had gone.
Yeah, he followed through for a long time on the play. There was no need to take the receiver down at all. I am generally not one to defend the softening of the game.
No, you're not. You most definitely are not. From the Montreal 50 now. Schaefer Baker again. And taken down after a few more yards by the middle linebacker, Trey Watson. The start of week 3 tomorrow. Friday night football in Winnipeg.
Middle linebacker Trey Watson as Schaefer Baker comes inside to make that grab. Watson looking to defend his territory.
Fine is down. The Alouettes tonight are indiscriminate when it comes to who's Saskatchewan's quarterback. They have been putting heat on the whole time. 8 sacks now. And Fine gets a taste of it and heads off to the sideline.
Well, here you're going to see more defensive tackle. Gets underneath Evan Johnson on that one. 8 sacks on the night. Remember, we looked back earlier in this ball game. Coming into this game, the entire East Division had 9 sacks. Montreal delivers with 8 here tonight. 6:45 to go in the ballgame.
Saskatchewan at 13 coming into this game. Bedvik punting it away. Worthy. A good return. Chandler Worthy. Still on his feet across midfield. Roland Milligan finally takes him down after a return of 39 yards. What a night for Worthy. Right from the opening kickoff. We're getting set for the 3rd Grand Slam of the tennis year. It comes your way Monday. World's elite tennis players taking to the grass courts, the All England Club, Wimbledon. TSN, your home for the coverage for the fortnight, all tournament long. St. Jean de Baptiste weekend beginning tomorrow. Big weekend here in Montreal, and the Alouettes kicking it off in style with a 33-6 lead with just over 6 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. All Alouettes. Trevor Harris still in. Handing off to Jeshurun Antwi. And he still finds his way to, well, pick up a yard or two. Made something out of it.
A hard-earned yard. There, not much available for the Alouettes on that run.
9 carries, 43 yards. But you look at what they were up against with 2 losses to start the season by a field goal, a late field goal, 30 seconds left in Calgary, and then when it looked like they had the victory in Toronto. And that miss cost them. 0-2 start. Jake Winicky hurt. William Stanback out. A lot against the Alouettes, but you wouldn't know it tonight. And that one, intended for Lewis, falls incomplete.
Yeah, I think the formula the Alouettes have found is that they didn't do well in close games, so just don't let the game get close.
Don't let it get close.
Just a great start in this one, and done a pretty good job keeping their foot on the pedal here.
Joseph Seaman to punt. Samuel Emelis, the rookie, back for the return for Saskatchewan. Takes a hop and heads into the end zone. Put one more on the board. Zemlis takes a knee and make it a 34-6 game. Yes, just 6 on the board for Saskatchewan. Testament to the defense the Alouettes have put up, Dwayne.
Yeah, they've been outstanding, obviously. The pass rush and coverage. Just bringing the heat throughout in this ball game. Frustrating the Riders. Right from the get-go, big night for Baron Miles and his crew.
Got a touchdown on defense by Dubois, a couple of sacks by Sewell. Michael Wakefield's had a big night in the middle. Like just about everybody in the blue and red having a big night on that side of the ball, but they also touchdowns on offense and special teams, of course. Nearly intercepted on that one. A crowd of Alouettes in there. Like a team meeting back in the secondary, but falls incomplete.
Ended up with about 5 Alouettes in a row as the 5 blue jerseys among the 6 closest players to the action there. Just swarming.
Wesley Sutton, the injured Alouette, still down. We're to give this one to the Alouettes. It would be the first time an Eastern team has beaten a Western team this young season. Montreal losing in Calgary. Hamilton had lost in Saskatchewan. Ottawa losing to Winnipeg twice in very close games. And tomorrow, Hamilton, as mentioned, Friday Night Football, Hamilton will play Winnipeg, Grey Cup rematch. And the Ticats, after seeing a 24-0 lead disappear last Saturday against the Calgary Stampeders, like to get in the win column, and they get a tough one against the Bombers tomorrow night here on TSN. Sutton finally heading off.
Yeah, looks like he's got a pretty good trot going there, so hopefully nothing too serious for Wesley Sutton to put a damper on what's been a pretty good night for the Owls defense and secondary. Najee Murray leading the way. Darius Williams checks in place of Sutton.
And Mason Fine throwing again, picked off again. Darius Williams has it this time. First pick thrown by Fine, but not the first one for the Alouettes tonight. That busy defense adding fuel to the fire.
Looking for just a timing route along the sidelines here. Protection holds up well, but Darius Williams sitting back at first kind of baits Fine into throwing this football out on the sideline to Justin McInnes. Jumps in front of that one. The Roughriders are frankly lucky to avoid a second pick 6 in this ball game.
I do this shit, man.
And there was nearly one, remember, on their first possession by Murray on Fajardo that he couldn't hang on to, or that would have been another pick 6. Setting up the screen to Antwi. He's met right there by the rookie, Jaden Dahlke from the University of Alberta, drafted in the 6th round by the Riders.
Yeah, Dahlke, terrific junior player in Edmonton prior to joining Chris Morris's Golden Bears program. Going to see him from his weak side linebacker spot. Reads it, jumps it, steps up to make a play. Moved up to that linebacker spot after playing as a defensive back safety through his junior and university careers.
Getting some reps late in this game on the 2nd and 11. And off to the right. That's Walter Fletcher, newcomer to the Alouettes, coming over from Edmonton with his second touch in the ball game as Larry Dean takes him down.
Larry Dean out on the weak side. Guy who's made his reputation in the Canadian Football League as a middle linebacker. But with the addition of Darnell Sankey here in Saskatchewan, Dean slides over to the weak side spot. This looked pretty good there.
This Montreal center, Sean Jamieson, is down. And an offensive line that, for the most part, has done an excellent job tonight against a team that had been providing a lot of pressure. Was looking very strong.
Yeah, no doubt that offensive line is a group that had been challenged this week. Probably hearing a lot about what they were going to be up against. They've answered the bell.
To 3 minutes and 6 seconds. 3 minutes 6 seconds.
Sean Jamieson, the center, still down as several of his teammates have taken a knee. Have a look at what happened.
There's your center, Sean Jamieson. We saw Anthony Lanier, who had sort of fallen down in his matchup, was right at the right knee of Jamieson as he was locked up with another Rider pass rusher.
And just an awful sight, grabbing his right knee as it's like the cart was coming out and then waved back. The veteran out of Western in his 5th year, the Montreal center, Sean Jamieson.
Yeah, Sean Jamieson. Jamieson's a guy that can tell you a little bit of what Logan Bandy is going through for Saskatchewan. Jamieson was a star at offensive tackle in his university career, moved to the center spot here in the Canadian Football League with Montreal. Bandy, Canada West All-Star and All-Canadian at tackle for the Calgary Dinos, went back for his final season after being drafted and moved to center so he could learn the position. You know, and a smart move for him, and a nice move, frankly, by University of Calgary head coach Wayne Harris to sort of help Bandy along in his career.
And certainly the Riders can commiserate with what happened late in the game last week in Edmonton to Dan Clark, the veteran for Saskatchewan. Getting Logan Bandy getting the start there. So Jamieson, the center, is off. A 30-yard field goal try for David Cote, who's followed up last week with a perfect night and a 37-6 lead. With 2:46 now in the clock, the 3-minute warning given as the Alouettes put this to bed.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by 7-Eleven, where you get fast 24/7 delivery on game day, including Slurpee drinks.
A look at Saskatchewan Roughriders quarterback Mason Fine earlier in the quarter took over for Cody Fajardo as this game got out of hand. He's 3 for 5 for 13 yards, taking the handoff, rolling out, and he completes it. And the last set of downs, and that's the first CFL catch for Emilis, the rookie, one of the top draft picks. Picks one up.
And here you'll see off play action, little roll to the right. Fine zips it out there to Samuel Emilis. Well, we could be looking at the beginnings of the second coming of the Canadian Air Force in Regina.
Second and 5. Deeper ball down the right to Duke Williams, who has it and is taken down immediately by Wesley Sutton, but he does get it down to the Montreal 20. And what's been a rough night for Duke Williams, his 3rd catch, but he's also been a target for a couple of interceptions too.
There you see Duke motioning in the slot. He's going to work this one towards the corner. Gets on top of his man. Watch him drift to the outside there. Perfectly thrown ball from Mason Fine. As he said, frustrating night from Duke Williams, but doesn't let himself sort of get out of the game as this opportunity comes late to make a big play, and he delivers.
Nice play there for Duke Williams. So 1st and 10 at the Alouette 20. Oh, a nice catch there by Jacob Prawl. Down a little lower. Picked it up nicely, and he gets it down inside the 5 for a 1st and goal for the Roughriders.
Jacob Prawl, Ivy League product out of Brown. Quick out here, spinning off his man. Yeah, this is a fantastic play.
For the touchdown and a beautiful play by Duke Williams.
Left side of your screen, he and Najee Murray tangled up, both with eyes on the ball. Just the calm to not get so caught up in the battle or distracted by the defender. All his focus is on that ball. Nice grab. Good coverage. Not much you can do against Duke Williams in that situation.
So a couple of big catches for Williams on that quick drive. 4 plays, 70 yards. They needed quick drives earlier in the half like that to get back in this game, but not to be. But they do get a little closer. Their first touchdown of the night. Duke Williams gets it. Makes it a 37-12 game. Something to build on. And don't forget, these two teams meet again in 9 days at Mosaic Stadium.
You see first look for Mason Fine is to Duke Williams, and even with the DB in that situation, you take your chances with big number 5. Put it up, let him go get it. Williams doesn't disappoint on that play.
Yes, back-to-back meetings between these two, so there is something to build on. Give the 2 points to the Alouettes, but they will meet again. Their next opponent, the rematch, a week from Saturday at Mosaic, where the Riders get them on their home turf. Fine talks things over with Cody Fajardo and getting some valuable reps in this game. And Lawther to kick off. This kicks it deep. Worthy. We got everything started with that touchdown return to open up the game. What a night for him. And Dominic Davis in turn comes on to relieve Trevor Harris. Vernon Adams not dressing for this game tonight because of COVID. So Davis getting the chance to come in now, the third stringer here in Montreal. He and Trevor Harris were once teammates with the Ottawa Redblacks, and Davis for a time after Harris left was the starting QB for Ottawa.
Yeah, Davis prior to that with stints in Calgary and Winnipeg. Signed here by Montreal as a free agent.
So Christian Matt goes to center after the injury to Sean Jamieson, and a little toss there to Walter Fletcher, who's quickly hauled down after getting up across the 40. The safety Mike Edom coming in.
David Brown, another Western product, comes in at guard, filling Christian Matt's spot with, as you said, Matt going over to center.
Down to the final minute here at Percival Molson Stadium, and they just keep it on the ground. Trevor Harris, 16-22, 262 yards, and that one long touchdown pass, a 70-yarder to Keon Julian Grant on a night where everything was clicking for the Alouettes. The offense was good, very good, and special teams and defense excellent too. He is 15 yards shy of 25,000. Trevor Harris is, and that passing milestone in his CFL career. Goes to Reggie White off to the left, and it's Kosi Onyeka taking him down. Yes, Trevor Harris's career started as a backup to Ricky Ray and Zach Caleros in Toronto. Later went to Ottawa, backed up Henry Burris, won a Grey Cup, stayed with the Red Blacks till 2019 when he moved on to Edmonton. But moving up in more elite company, Conrad Holloway is next on the list. It was a great with both the Ottawa Roughriders and Toronto Argonauts. Hall of Famer. Zima to punt it away. Emilus. And the rookie on the return again after a punt of 41. So both of these teams are going to get a little break. The Riders on a short week. They played last Saturday and coming into Montreal on this Thursday night. And the Alouettes, I'm sure, will enjoy their break a bit more as they get set to take on the Riders in Regina a week from Saturday. And don't forget, I said this is just the start of week 3. The Friday night game, Ticats Bombers tomorrow. We'll be in Calgary for the Elks and the Stampeders coming off that great comeback in Hamilton. And that'll be followed by Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions with the bye last week. They're hosting the Argos. A couple of 1-0 teams. Offense, defense, but it was special teams that got it started for the Montreal Alouettes. They literally were the better team from the opening kickoff on this night, and a much-needed victory for that man, Kahari Jones. And a first CFL touchdown for that man in Keon Julian Grant. The Alouettes felt they needed to win that home opener, and they did it decisively. First time of the young season that the East beats the West. And the Alouettes improve to 1-2. The Riders fall to 2-1. They meet again in 9 days. Thanks for watching 7-11 Thursday Night Football on TSN. SportsCenter is next. Have a good night, everybody.